We spend tens of thousands of dollars, orchestrate elaborate photo shoots, and obsess over the perfect aesthetic for a single day. The modern wedding has become a high-stakes theatrical spectacle. Many couples approach the altar as if they are crossing a finish line. They expect the crowd's applause to validate the relationship, treating the event as a coronation of their romance rather than the initiation of a radical personal change. Looking at the wisdom of older traditions reveals a different reality. This text captures the ceremony as a quiet funeral for your individual life and self-serving habits. This diagram shows the true proportion of the commitment. The $50,000 spectacle is merely the 15% visible above the surface, while an 85% mass of daily friction and ego liquidation lies underneath. Cultural obsession remains fixed on the event, leaving most people entirely unprepared for the essence of the commitment. When relationships require effort, the modern instinct is abandonment. This roadmap of collapse begins with a market mentality, treating human beings like disposable consumer products. This quickly breeds severe entitlement, demanding a partner to heal past traumas while fiercely refusing to be challenged in return. The inevitable collapse happens during the tantrum stage. The moment the relationship stops serving the ego, one partner declares the situation toxic and heads for the exit. Divorce has become the default reflex for a generation that views personal growth as an unbearable inconvenience. This chart compares two different ways to view a marriage. The consumer union seeks entertainment and validation, while the sacred crucible prioritizes spiritual refinement and holiness over temporary personal happiness. To survive that crucible, couples have to understand the primary tool for resolving conflict, the mirror. During a fight, the instinct is to look outward. The ego projects its anger directly onto the spouse to avoid accountability. But the spouse is an inescapable mirror, reflecting the exact traits we refuse to acknowledge in ourselves: impatience, selfishness, and childish tendencies. Resolving the conflict requires stopping the attack on the spouse. Instead, you must look at the reflection and ask, what part of me is being shown right now? Surviving marriage means enacting what these four monuments represent, the daily funerals of pride. One essential discipline is dying to victory, dropping the desperate need to be right, and choosing the sanctity of the union over a hollow win. There is also the discipline of dying to retaliation. This is the long jihad of holding your tongue and practicing patience precisely when your mind is screaming to strike back and score points. These surrenders force the soul to mature. We begin at the bottom step, ruled by a commanding ego, and through the struggle to yield, we reach a state of self-awareness and accountability. These daily frictions prove that your spouse is not the opponent. The real battle of marriage is with yourself. To reach a state of lasting peace, a marriage requires structural integrity. This architecture of Sabr starts with a bedrock of God consciousness, ensuring the relationship remains stable even when moods or beauty fade. On top of that foundation, rigid gender roles must be replaced by the prophetic model of leadership through service. True strength in a home is defined by giving and compassion rather than demanding to be served. This compassion extends into how a couple speaks. Sacred communication means speaking with the sole intention of being understood, designed to facilitate growth rather than to dominate the interaction. The ultimate goal of this work is the tranquil soul. At this highest stage, the ego has been dismantled, leaving a heart that has finally learned how to love beyond its own desires. Dismantling the ego transforms the marriage into a shared spiritual journey toward a higher purpose. Marriage is described as completing half your faith. As this text highlights, it holds this massive weight because it tests the soul every single day through the refining fire of commitment. These tablets outline the brutal reality. A spouse is not there to complete you. Marriage is a tool designed to strip you down, tear through your layers, and show you exactly what needs to go. When relationships fracture and end, they rarely die from a lack of love. They die from an excess of self. To commit to another person is to accept a lifelong trial. Marriage is the sacred crucible where the individual ego must die so the union can live. Marriage acts as a forge, and only those who have conquered themselves will survive the fire of true commitment.